York is with us today. Awesome. So I just want to welcome everyone one more time. Chicago, Houston. Wow, we got people from everywhere today. That's awesome.
That is really cool,
Houston,
honestly. All sorts of time
Virginia.
zones, yes.
Wow. That's awesome. Virginia. So let's just give another few minutes for people to join, and then we'll get started. Tonight, we're going to spend about an hour together. So you got a few minutes to make yourself a cup of tea or coffee if you're in Eastern time zone. I know in Virginia, no, Virginia is probably Eastern, right? So you probably wouldn't be drinking coffee. I would
Well,
strongly
it's a
suggest
beer
tea.
o'clock technically, so that's fine too.
Yeah. New
And it's
York
Friday.
City.
And it's Friday. Come on, it's really beer o'clock by now.
Welcome, Scott. Thank you for texting in the chat. So I will be answering your questions today later. So if you will be having any questions tonight, just keep them till the end and we'll take our time to answer all of you. Atlanta is with us too. Welcome. We got people from area, Texas. Pam, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. All right, I think let's take a few more minutes. I do want to say thank you to everyone who came on time today. That's amazing. So thank you for joining us, and we will be learning tonight about who DevOps engineer is. I have an expert, Alexei, with us tonight, who is one of our instructors, and he also works in the industry. So I'm very excited to be learning together with you how we can take advantage of this new developing industry and how we could find this career path. So I would say maybe a few more minutes. So we got New York, Texas, Atlanta. Do we have anybody from California tonight? Most
Maybe
of the people
Canada.
I see are Canada with us.
Well,
So
it's a long
Alex says,
shot, but I gotta try it, right?
that's right. All right, so let's see.
So
Let's
no one
see
from
who else
Canada.
we can.
I'm the one Canuck here. Okay.
Virginia is here. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. All right. So should we get started or should we give a few more minutes?
I think we should give it one more maybe because we have 25 people by now. I have a
All right,
feeling that
awesome.
yeah, let's just
South
I
Carolina, welcome, Shalija. Yeah, so people are still joining, so let's just give it a few more minutes. I can call my friend from Canada. Come on,
Well,
will it
go
be
for it.
here? You got a minute. We'll make that call. Yeah, by the way, if you know someone who might be a great um student, oh California, we got someone from California finally. Welcome. If you know someone who would like to learn about who DevOps engineer is, please share your Zoom link so they could join us. And it's always better to learn with a friend. So we'll give you like few minutes to share our webinar link and invite your friends, make yourself a cup of tea or coffee, and we will spend a great hour together. Uh, Lakshman from Arizona just joined us too. Welcome. Welcome everyone who already joined and who is still joining us. I'm sure we will be having more people joining later today too, because we had over 300 people registered for this webinar. And I'm super excited tonight because DevOps Engineer is one of my favorite courses, which are being taught in BlackScreen.ai school, and so I'm very excited tonight. And Alexei is one of my favorite instructors, because he doesn't only have a knowledge, but he also has a great personality where it's while you're learning, you're growing and it's never boring. So I'm very excited
Okay.
about having him as our instructor tonight.
I'm happy
All
to
right,
make it
so
entertaining. I think we should start, yes.
yeah, let's get started. So welcome everyone. Whoever joins us, we will be recording this webinar. So if you would want to share it with your friends, or if you missed some of the parts of it, you can always rewatch it. It will be available. We'll send you email with recording. So everyone who just joined us, welcome. And we're very excited that this Friday night you're spending with us. I'm very proud of each of you for joining us tonight. Instead of watching your favorite Netflix show or doing something else, you are investing in yourself and you're learning a new skill set which will allow you to achieve your dream career. And I hope that the DevOps engineer career would be the path you would choose. And Alexei tonight, he will share some insights about this profession and how you can get into this blooming industry. And it's never been better time to get into IT world and become a DevOps engineer. And I'll share with you a few statistics. So we'll spend about an hour together. If you have any questions, please keep them till the end. We have a special time when we will be answering your questions. Also, for everyone who stays with us till the end, we did prepare a special offer how to get started, which is affordable and it's a great opportunity. I always say success is when preparation meets opportunity. So we know how to get you prepared. Opportunity is there. Time just to get ready and dive into this industry and become successful in it. So we will spend 2 days together and Alexei, if we can show the timing. So if you didn't put it in your calendar yet, on the next slide. So
Um,
we will spend an
Hold on,
hour
Julia.
today. Hmm.
Can
Go ahead.
I interrupt you right here? So I want to
Sure.
speak a little bit about the webinar hygiene. I currently specifically muted you all, so we are not interrupted during our presentation. You don't have the ability to unmute yourself, but you have the ability to raise the hand through the reactions like this. I just did it for myself, so you probably see I raised the hand, right?
Yeah, we can see.
And yes, so that means that you have a question and it's immediate. We will react to it. So we will pay attention to the hands raised and so on. Or you can basically type your question in the chat. Julia and me, we will be swapping the roles. So one of us will be leading the webinar along the way, and the other one will be monitoring the chat. So if there is a question which is kind of related to the topic we're currently discussing, you will get it an answer. We will try to answer it as timely as possible, but well, have patience and you will get your answers at the end as well. And also at the Q&A section at the end of this webinar, I will allow you guys to unmute yourself so we can have an actual talking conversation. At the moment, I'm leaving this option disabled, so you'll be muted. But if you have something to ask, basically type it in the chat. That's fine. I think with that out of the way, we can continue. So let's go, Julia. Here's our schedule.
Awesome. Yes, so we'll spend tonight together for about an hour, and Alexei will share about how to become DevOps engineer, what it is about, how to tap into this blooming industry. And then tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific or noon if you are in Eastern, I see that a lot of people are in Eastern time who join us. So at noon, put it in your calendar right now. We will continue talking about DevOps engineer career, how to get in, how to become DevOps engineer. So put it in your calendar right now and put few reminders, because it's Saturday morning. So do not miss this opportunity to learn more and get your skill set. All right, so let's go to the next slide. And as I mentioned before, we have one of my favorite instructors in our school, Alex Day, and we'll have time when he will share a little bit more about his experience. But what inspiring me about his story is that he actually didn't even have experience, and he became a DevOps engineer. So I think he went through this path of success and now he works in the industry. And what makes our school different from any other course or school available on the market is that we don't allow anyone to teach you if they don't work in the industry. You know, in IT world, you have you have to know the latest tools, use the latest technologies. And what I love about Alexei is that he works in the industry, and so he knows so all the new tools which are being applied, and he's an expert in the industry. So he would be able to teach you and take through this course. And you know, having a right mentor is already 50% of success. So on the next slide, I just wanted to share with you a few statistics about the DevOps engineer industry. And it's not just blooming, it's exploding. And so with projections soaring from 10 billion to a staggering 60 billion by 2033, now's the time to seize this opportunity. And if you do the market research, about 43% of companies are actively seeking DevOps engineers right now. And you could be one of them. And in this crazy world we're living right now, you have to have a right vehicle, which will help you to have a great lifestyle. And you have to have a remote job. You have to have flexibility. And the challenges we're facing today, they like never before show you that you have to have a skill set which doesn't limit you in this crazy world we're living in. And that's why I want you to pay attention, write down your questions, and let's help you to get started and see if that's a great fit for your future. A little bit about our company.
Next one.
Oh,
Yes.
that's a good question, Alexei.
Yes.
So a little bit about BlackScreen AI. So how the company get started, where we from. Uh, so I just want to give you a few facts. Is that BlackScreen AI is a project of FAST, which is a programming academy in Silicon Valley. And originally, the company was founded in 2016 in California, and it was for those people who wasn't even native English speakers. So those who wasn't born in states, you know, who just like wanted to find a career path which will help them to, you know, to live and to find out, you know, there is future path. And so all since then, we helped over 3,500 students to get the job. And since we had so much success with those who weren't even native speakers, we decided to launch the program for English speaking students, because so we had so much success helping people to get the job in the industry. And since 2016, we helped over 25,000 online students who were joining us from, you name it, you know, from pretty much any part of the world. And so right now, this project, Black Screen AI, it's focused on English speakers. And we're very excited that we are able to give this opportunity. And so since we had so much success with those who didn't even speak English and they were able to find the job and now have stability and flexibility in their work, we are able to help more people. And so you can check the reviews on our YouTube channel, but most of our students, they didn't even have an IT background. But as I mentioned in the beginning, with right mentorship and right experts in our school, we're able to take them to the next level and help them to get a dream career in this field. So you are more than welcome to watch the reviews, but we can't wait to hear your story, you know, and you will have a chance to get started and join our program today. So stay with us till the end, so you could learn more and see if that's the career path you would like to choose. And on the next slide, I wanted just
Oh,
to name few companies where our students are working, but
oh,
as you
sorry.
see, they can work anywhere. Oh, you can go to the next slide. I'm not going to go through all the names, but the demand, as I mentioned, 43% of companies are actively hiring. students right now. So it could be you if you have a right skill set. Who can become a DevOps engineer? Anybody. It's not easy, but with the right mentor, you can get there. Of course, you would have to put an effort in it. And the students who got the job through our school, they're making anywhere from 100,000 to over $200,000 a year, and that's a great career to have. It's a great opportunity, and Alexei will be sharing more. But I want to ask Alexei a few questions, and as I mentioned, when he gets started and when he got into the industry, he didn't really have experience. And if you want to share a few words about it, Alexei, what was the biggest challenge, how you overcame it, and now, I mean, you do have a dream career. You are able to invest in yourself and in your dreams, and just a few words.
So yeah, let me introduce myself a little bit more, right? Now
Hmm.
it's my talking part, so I gonna take it from Julia for a little bit. And
Yes.
I'm guys basically a profession switcher. So a while ago, sometime 5+ years by now, I think it's more than five, but um, it's tough to count after a certain point. Uh, I basically haven't been working in the IT industry. I came from the engineering background when I used to do a lot of mechanical engineering and electronics engineering. At certain point, I've been looking for the place which can actually boost my career and give me necessary knowledge to be able to be competitive on the market. And on the other hand, a lot of courses, a lot of boot camps, they were basically reading off the script. I went to the quite few myself, and uh, honestly, they were boring. So that's how I found PSV. I do not really remember where exactly I found this company, but these guys, what the way how they caught me and the way what sold them to me was that they have a live courses. It been taught by the industry professionals, so the guys who actually work on the real job, as what they teach, they actually do every day. And I decided to join them. That's how I went through the boot camp with the PSV company. I keep saying PSV because, just a reminder, this is the parent company for the BlackScreen. So essentially, that was a BlackScreen back then. Um, and in the middle of the course, I realized that software engineering, it's not really something what I'm enjoying of doing because it felt a little bit out of the place. So I went and self-taught myself. The other half, I being in the community, I being active on the bootcamp, but it wasn't the DevOps bootcamp. It was a software engineering bootcamp, and I learned the DevOps tools myself and I was able to successfully find a job. And actually, I got pretty easily hired by a pretty big company here in Vancouver. So I'm in Canada, just for the reference. From there, I kind of started my career, and I didn't come back until uh, 2, 3 years later. So that's not the first boot camp we are doing. You guys, second English season and sixth. There is a kind of like Russian speaking group as well. These guys are on the sixth season. So that's definitely not the first time we're doing it. And I decided to give back to the community technically. The reason why I came back was to actually being able to share the knowledge and journey which I went through. And back then it felt just right. And it feels right still now. And my career, after I found my first job, I changed two more companies until I finally settled in the pretty big company. So I'm currently actively working. I'm a full-time employee for the Life 360 company. For those who are in the States, you might be actually recognizing the name. It's one of the biggest tracking application currently in the market. And for those who don't, go and check it out. It's a family tracking app and it's family oriented. So you can definitely find it useful. And it's a pretty big company. And there I've been kind of developing myself internally in the company where I tried multiple hats along the way. And currently I'm transitioned to a slightly different DevOps role. It's more like an extension of the DevOps, which is called FinOps. So that's essentially DevOps engineer, which is focused on the cost efficiency, resource optimization, hardware optimization for the company. Because the company is grown so big, I'm not talking only about the company I'm working for, but all across the board. Back in 2020, it wasn't that bad. Sometime in 2016, nobody even heard what DevOps is. Back in 2020, a lot of companies start thinking, hey, this profession really brings the value to our company life because it can make our workflow faster, it can make our delivery to the market faster, so we can develop new features, new websites, new applications faster, and that means we can win over our customers faster. And whatever profession you take in the IT, you always should think about the business value the profession brings into it. So DevOps, those guys, I'm kind of jumping offset from my career into the initial training part, but I think that's fine. DevOps are the guys who
I think
actually,
that's important.
yeah. That's the guys who help to save money, a lot of them. Because developers, as engineers, they develop something, but they do not genuinely care how much hardware we need to throw at it to make it work. Because that's simply not their task. The task of the developer is to make something work. That's it. No matter what's the cost. That's most of the times the input they get from their managers, right? And at the end of the day, that's what they do. They just come to the cloud, click a couple of buttons, it works. And then week later, 5,000, 10,000, $15,000 bill comes in. And they're like surprised why it's so expensive, right? So being DevOps engineers, we are actually capable of answering these questions why. And we can make it not 15,000 per week, but maybe like 3,000-ish, which makes it way better for the company and it saves a lot of money in the budget, right? So for me, I joined the company and that's what I technically been doing. I'm being always focused on the resource optimization and saving money for the company. And I've been part of the resource optimization team. So specifically the team whose task was to find the inefficiencies inside the stack of the company. And well, when I came back to the PSV, like giving back to the community, and that's the most awesome thing about the current company, PSV and BlackScreen community, because I saw the question there in the chat. I'm not going to answer it in particular order, but I just really like the question itself. Do we have the mentorship support? So the idea is once you join in, you do not pay anything more and you still have full access to all of the materials you paid for during the course, and you still have access to the community. Because in the PSV, as we already have more than 3,000 graduates, I think it's actually more than that. There is a constant active communication inside the course-oriented chats, and you have access to the general chat as well. And so what that means that people who already working, they usually get off the radar for like 6 months to 1 year, and then they come back. The reason why, because being in the community, that means you're always up to date to the latest technology. Because one person knows this, the other person knows a little bit of that. Somebody goes and works for the Microsoft and he brings back part of their stack, part of their best practices. Somebody goes and works for the AWS. Somebody goes and works for, I don't know, Uber, right? And every one of us have a different journey, and that means we gain different experiences. And it's okay to share them inside the community where it feels safe to say, not in front of your colleagues. Well, that's the environment we should look for, actually, but not everybody is so lucky. It feels safe just to come back to the chat and say, hey, I need to understand what the Redis is. But at the end of the day, I don't know, and I can't go out to my colleagues and ask these questions because, well, they're gonna look a little bit strange at me, right? So in the chat, there's always somebody who knows it. And then the guy pops up, hey, I know Redis. Uh, here's the documentation, here are the pointers, here's the most necessary pieces which you need to know. So that's exactly what the value in the community is, because everybody can bring a little bit more of its own experiences, and then it makes for everybody else to actually get the knowledge faster and more efficient. Same about our course. I'm not gonna want to. I don't want to talk too much about it ahead of time, but basically, our idea is that we do not teach from the script. And the point being is that technology changes. Me, as the actively working individual, I also bring a lot of new stuff into the course. And as you can see, every 6 months, the world goes crazy. Like current buzzwords are AI, LLM, all of the ChatGPT, Gemini, what else is there? Like you name it. And even a year ago, if you think about it, nobody even heard what is that, right? And 2 years ago, it would be crazy to say, "Hey, I just installed a plugin addition to my terminal, and it just types half of the code for me." And it's possible today. So think about it. And that's the idea. Every new iteration, every new group of the DevOps engineers, I'm also trying to bring something new, something different. And of course, because it's evolving, it's always evolving entity, and I always teach it slightly different. So for those who, and you have a capability to actually keep going on and on and on with the course if you want. That's kind of like a part of the offer too. Sorry, Julia. Uh,
It's okay.
jumping, jumping ahead of time. Um, and yes, that's one of our advantages too. About my journey, I'm currently 3 years employed at Life 360. I'm not afraid to say that part. And I'm well within on my development path too. So my current trajectory probably is shooting for the manager's position. I'm not there yet, but well, we shall see. And I keep developing more on the soft skill side now. After you learn certain hard skills, which is working with the tool set, working with the technology, working with the certain documentation, working with certain stack, and so on, you realize that the second and probably in certain cases first skill which matters is actually soft skills. So the means of communication, the means of delivering message to the team, the means of the talking to the team members, the means of making sure that people on the other side are understanding you. And what's interesting is DevOps is the profession which does not really require you to be on site. Well, that means it means you're not gonna see your colleagues pretty often. And it's an advantage and disadvantage. In this age, it's hard to say it's a disadvantage, but partially it is because you don't have such a close communication with the team anymore. And again, it's my personal opinion, but you lose a little bit of that details and clarity because you cannot really read the body language of the person sitting behind the camera. Yes, you can read me right now because I kind of have my camera open and I have a pretty good camera. But a lot of times it's a closed camera, it's a communication through the Zoom like we're doing right now. Well, I muted you all, so it's mostly me communicating with you. But yes, and the thing is, you lose that touch, and it can be a little bit hard. But on the flip side, it gives you the capability of develop these soft skills. And with these soft skills, that means that you structure your message the way that person on the other side get it. And again, being the remote position most of the times, I mean, it's either hybrid or remote. Um, DevOps engineer also get to work with a lot of teams. That means not only being locked in inside its own 3, 4, 5 people kind of cell, but more of going across the org. DevOps is a position which provides the capability, if you want to really lean into it, capability to communicate all across the org. DevOps is one of the most important persons at the company because they do hold keys from all of the doors. What that means you have access to all of the secrets, to all of the resources, to a lot of resources, and you technically can do more than the developers can. And at the same time, you need to make sure everything works fine, like not perfect, but just fine, just enough. And also, you need to help developers to be more efficient and actually work faster, right? So, from my career, I keep developing. At this point, it's more on the soft skill side, but we decided to basically introduce this new course as they give back to the community. It started small, of course, but I'm really happy to be able to develop myself along the way and actually teach all of the students which I have. So that's what makes the course probably a little bit more entertaining, I guess, right? Uh, I think at this point I want to move on to the next slide. There are a
Thank you, Alexei.
couple more questions, but I think we're gonna spare them for a little bit later, right?
Yeah, let's save all the questions till the end. We'll have a time when we would answer them.
Mm-hmm.
And Alexei will just dive into the next part of our training, where he would give you the stages of development as a DevOps engineer. And so, but I really wanted him to share a little bit about his start in this career. So, Alexei, take it from here, and let's learn together. Pay attention, write down your questions. For everyone who stays with us till the end, as I mentioned, we did prepare a special offer how for you to get started. And so just pay attention and let's learn together.
Of course. So
Mhm.
the next slide, essentially the next part of our presentation, is where DevOps participate. As I said, DevOps is kind of a profession where you get a chance to touch all parts of the development cycle or development stages. Yes. The idea is that DevOps engineer gets involved while we plan something. For those who are completely new to the IT world, there are certain steps you need to take to develop a new product, to develop a new application, new website, new service, something, right? And the very first step, as always in the life, is to plan. So DevOps engineers help to define requirements for something what we're trying to launch, for something what we're trying to bring into the cloud, for something what we're trying to understand how much resources it's gonna take and what it's gonna cost us, right? So we help define requirements and plan the development process. The reason being because we will be the next person who's going to be executing on actually making sure that after developers write their code, that this code is getting successfully deployed. So the second part, right? The second step, code. Developers write the code, yes, and they ship it into the certain storage system. So somewhere where everybody else can see it and they can collaborate on it. The thing is that DevOps engineer usually is the person who controls that storage. So every step of this process is technically owned by the DevOps team, and they are making sure that there is a proper code inside, that we have a proper version, we save it properly, and we have a backups, and we can actually roll it back when necessary. That means go back to the previous version. The third stage, of course, build, right? Because the code by itself, most of the times, it's just a dead entity. It's similar as you type a message in the Word document or in your block note or anywhere, and it does nothing. So to be able to execute on that, the code needs to be altered in a certain way where it becomes the application, where it becomes the web page, right? And DevOps engineer is responsible for building it, for making sure that there are certain tools which can build that code into proper digestible entity which can be used later, like application, website, whatever, right? So we are involved in the build process. Guess what? Then comes the next stage, testing. So testing, we constantly working with the QA engineers. A lot of times, if the team is small, DevOps engineer is wearing the multiple hats, and that means that we have a QA engineer, so quality control, who's responsible for making sure that our product is clean of the bugs and the button is where it's supposed to be and the color corresponds to the proper color palette. And it also performs the way how we like it. So if we click on the button, we actually get on the proper page, right? So to achieve that, QA engineers, they write the automated tests. There is a manual and automation. I'm talking about automation right now. So they write this test, but this test needs to be run somewhere. because QA engineer, of course, he can run the tests on his own computer, but it's not sustainable. So DevOps engineer is that superhero who makes from the QA engineer 10x QA engineer, because we provide a tool set which helps to run the tests automatically without the participation of the QA engineer and need of the QA engineer constantly sit and monitor it. And if something goes wrong, and if certain critical tests are failing, then the DevOps engineer comes back to the QA engineer and tells him, hey, your tests are failing. And here's the reason why. Most of the times we do even farther where we do not design it. There are tools on the market. So just keep in mind, we do not write these tools. We use them. So DevOps engineer is very versatile on the tool set, but not necessarily a developer by the nature, right? What that means we just implement the tool set, which automatically sends the message to the QA engineer when something goes wrong or certain things are failing. What is the next step, right? Deploy it, make it work, make it go to the production, make it visible to us users. And in this case, we again need to know the tool set. That's something what we learn on the course, on our bootcamp course. Basically, the way how to properly deploy it without interruption to our actual application. So if you click on the button, it just suddenly doesn't disappear and comes back 5 minutes later because somebody pushed something new there, right? And we make sure that we go through all of the proper processes, like stage it, test it, and then deploy it to the production. And if something goes wrong, of course, we are responsible for rolling it back. So having a backup and being capable of switching the version from version 1 to version 2 or from version 2 to version 1 if something really goes wrong. And trust me, something will go wrong. That's not part of the process and it's totally normal. After we deploy stuff, we need to operate it. Well, that means we monitor the load on it, how many users we have there. Is that video on the TikTok went viral and it has 1 million views? Okay, but it's putting the stress on our application, right? Because we have 1 million users watching this video. Maybe in certain point we have 10,000 people looking in the same place in the same moment. So we need to make sure our servers are capable of sustaining that load and serving the video to 10,000 users. And it's a fun exercise. I like it, and honestly, it can uncover unexpected stuff along the way too. And on the flip side, operate. That means we need to make sure we do not overspend there. Because hey, if we can do the same 10,000 users for that video on the TikTok with a 1,000 worth of hardware, shall we really have 10,000 worth of hardware? Or maybe we can just pocket this 9,000 and use them somewhere else? That's the question we should be capable of answering. And well, it's a part of the bootcamp. I'm going to explain that too. And the last but not least stage is the monitoring, right? It's part of the operation. And essentially, it implies that we need to have a tool set which will provide us enough visibility on this certain metrics and parameters at the given moment of time. Also logging too, like we should be able to look historically what happened there. And that's basically our eyes and ears. And again, we do have a chapter in our bootcamp where we actually gonna look into it, right? From there, I'm gonna go to the next screen and the next slide, sorry. And here's the tool set. I wrote the very short list. It's probably not a full answer to the question in the chat, but that's the major stack which we will be looking at on our bootcamp. And you can take it as the agenda of the course. So if you're looking for the curriculum, hey, here it is. We do have a more detailed one, like lesson per lesson, but that available per request. I'm not gonna post it here. The reason being is that first of all, it changes. The second is that well, it's pretty big topic to go about. We can make like another 2 hours webinar about it. So here we work with the cloud. That's the one of the very first tools. And as you see, it's the AWS cloud. Our bootcamp is specifically focusing on the AWS cloud, We do not focus on the Azure or GCP, just because the AWS is one of the biggest cloud providers. And if you know how to work with the AWS, you will get other cloud providers quickly. We might look into the certain things which are slightly different, but overall, they are kind of the same. So we are focusing on the AWS, and I'll teach you how to safely use it, how not to get over the board using your account. There are a lot of running jokes in the internet about it. Uh, and also, I will provide you all of the necessary tools and capabilities to lock your account safely, and get the bonus from the AWS for 1 year of free resource usage so you can experiment with the certain things. That's how you get the industry experience. Without it, you're not going to be able to perform at your actual work. You can pass the interview. It's a completely separate art. You can pass your interview even without knowledge of these tools, and there are examples of that. But you would need to perform at your work. So think about it without having the hands-on experience. How would you be able to answer the question of your team lead, or how long it's gonna take you if you get a certain task which is really tied up to that stack? Um, well, in our bootcamp, we combine the practice with the theory. So we not only listen to the theory, we also do it by ourselves. And there is a certain advantage to our actual lessons. I'm gonna hold it a little bit until a couple slides later. But we do not only do the lecture style lessons. You will see it later. So GitHub. GitHub is the industry standard. That's something what whoever touched the IT industry heard at least once. Essentially, it's the code management system, one of the many, but one of the most popular, which was bought by the Microsoft, by the way, a couple of years ago. And if you're doing any open source project, if you're doing any project at all, most likely you will be on the GitHub. There are others, and certain companies, they like to lock their code, and they store it in the GitLab, Bitbucket. It's a self-hosted version of it, and so on. Yes, it's possible. We do work with a GitHub. Again, it's an industry standard, and most of the times you will be there. Uh, Jenkins. Jenkins, it's an automation powerhouse. Why Jenkins? Because it's open source, it's free, and it's super useful. There are so many plugins because it's open source and get tremendous support from a lot of vendors, not only by the people, but also by the big companies. They do invest into the Jenkins. And the Jenkins is technically the way for us to run our automation, our automated tools, our automated cloud resource creation, and so on. So that's going to be entertaining, and we have the whole separate chapter for that. Terraform. Terraform is the tool which allows us to work with the infrastructure in the cloud as the template or as the code. That means that instead of doing something by hands, we learn how to automate our way away from the manual work. And if you know Terraform, certain tasks which can take you hours, with a Terraform could be done in 5 minutes. Of course, writing the actual template can take you hours, but you do it only once. The next tool is Ansible. Ansible is the tool which is always go hand to hand with a Terraform. It's a tool which helps us to set up our cloud. So not only we need to spin up the infra, not only we need to request that server from the AWS, we need to make sure we have the software which we need installed in it. And Ansible is exactly that tool. That's something what sets up our servers. Uh, Despite Ansible, there is a Chef, there is a Puppet. We do not play with those a lot. And most of the time we focus on the Ansible. Again, once you know one of these tools, those are the main majors. Then you will be able to pick up the others quicker, and it will be easier and the understanding will be spot on. So we're gonna focus on the Ansible. The next tool, well, it's kind of not a tool. It's more like an engine, but it becomes the buzzword lately, well, 2016 and on, invented in 2007-ish or something. It's a Docker. Well, Docker solves a lot of problems, but it creates much more too. And natural extension of Docker is Kubernetes. And now most of the big companies, they do not run without usage of the Kubernetes. And Kubernetes is the endless world by itself for those who prepping for the CKA. Hey, I saw those people in the chat. Great job so far, honestly. And you can type your response in the chat and say the Kubernetes worth to take a separate bootcamp on it or not, right? Uh, we're gonna focus on the Kubernetes in our last part of the bootcamp. Why last part? Because it is a big topic and I'm gonna walk you through the basics. I'm not going to be preparing you for the certain type of the certification, although the knowledge which you get there, you definitely will use on the certification exam. Um, and well, you would need to dive deeper because it's really big topic and it's really complex system by itself. Although you need to have at least basic knowledge and understanding of what it is, what kind of beast it is, and why so many people obsessed with that technology. There are many more tech which we will touch in one way or another during our bootcamp. That's why the list is only 7. And well, one of the majors for the metrics and monitorings will be Prometheus and Grafana. So that's all about the DevOps toolset for now. And for those who don't know what the DevOps profession is, right? I shall return a little bit to the beginning of the story. DevOps is essentially a glue between the operations, so something what is live and running, right? And developers, somebody who actually creates something new every day. And in the dark, dark past time, operations were a system administrator, guys. And honestly, currently, it's not really fair to say that DevOps is system administrator on steroids because DevOps is much more. DevOps is more about the processes inside the company. It's more about the capability of being able to go and find the right person who knows what to do with that thing. But on the flip side, the need from the DevOps stem from the not from the ability from the opportunity missed opportunity of the system administrators to work properly with the developers, because developers would come back to the system administrator and they would tell him, hey, I developed new piece of code, it works like a charm on my computer. And then system admin said, okay, ship it. Well, that means that they package it into the Docker and they ship it as the image. That's how the Docker was invented. Sorry, that was a side joke. But the system administrator would take the code, try to run it on the server, and it wouldn't work because developer had his computer set up in this certain way with a certain additional drivers, certain additional software, certain additional dances and black magic involved. And me as the sysadmin, I wouldn't know what he did with his computer, right? But I would need to replicate it on my server. And would I really want to guesstimate what developer did? So I would just throw back that code to the developer and tell him, okay, your code is not perfect. It can handle different use cases. So you need to sit and redevelop it again, right? Uh, and that was the infinite bottle. And that's from where DevOps was born. Basically, we needed a person who knew a little bit of development, kind of, to the level of being capable of understanding what's written in that code, not being able to write the code, maybe, although this is the advantage, um, but being able to understand and read the code. And on the other side, being really proficient with the hardware and knowing what's involved into setting up that hardware. And from there, the cloud took off. So cloud technologies, everything in the cloud, we're running everything in the cloud, and now everybody goes into the cloud. So it became the new buzzword. So naturally, DevOps evolved from just system admin practices to cloud management practices. And naturally, DevOps itself become its own separate discipline and its own separate set of practices. And you guys here today exactly listening about the tool set and what's involved into that, right? Just to summarize, I want to say that in certain cases, we can use a saying where uh, jack of all trades, master of none. But do you actually know the ending of the saying? Sometimes it's better than master of one. That's about DevOps engineer. So we know a lot of tools, we know a lot of practices, and we just need to understand what to apply in the current situation, and not necessarily to the perfection, just something what it works. But it helps to solve a lot of business issues, and it helps us to be successful on the market. And again, once you join the team, you integrate into the organization, which helps you um, to have a great job security. And that's the reason why this profession is growing, and it will be growing farther with all of the AI buzzwords and features. Guess what? Somebody need to set it up. Somebody need to set up the data center. Somebody need to manage cloud resources. And trust me, AI is not there by any means to take over this profession. Once it becomes to the complex entities where we can use our human brain as the multi-level template management tool, what that means we understand the context way better and we have way better past memory where we're capable of remembering stuff and actually applying it. AI is not there. You throw the task at it, it can do this simple coding, it can do this simple templating, but for now, it's all just smoke and mirrors. It's helpful for sure. For those who know how to leverage AI in their works, they become a 2-3x engineers for sure. But still, you need to be the engineer who understand how all of this is tied up together. So with that, I think I'm gonna go to the salary range, right? Julia, I'm gonna transfer it to you. Okay. Julia is searching for the unmute button, I think, right now. It's okay. So essentially, DevOps engineer salary in the United States, and this is a fresh screenshot, I hope so. Yeah, it is from October 14. Says 122K per year. Honestly, I've seen more. Again, as part of our bootcamp, we are not prepping you for the junior roles. After you finish the bootcamp, you will be capable to perform on the level of the middle senior position. Again, depending on the org, on how you present yourself on the interview and so on. But uh, the way how we teach you, we cut unnecessary material and unnecessary deep dive into certain topics. We gives you the hands-on experience. That means that you will actually be able to work with the tool set and you will be able to perform and you will be able to deliver the value to the business. That's why the salary, base salary, by the way, is 120Ks, but in reality, I've seen 150Ks too. That's something what you are competing for. Well, what you will learn on the bootcamp. Well, I think I went through that slide already. But you will learn how to use DevOps tools. And well, there are a lot of tools. This is just a part of it. You will learn how to set up your account with the cloud. You'll learn how to set up certain resources in the cloud using Terraform and Ansible. You will learn about containerization and how to work with the Docker and Kubernetes. And of course, there are some knowledge about databases and how to manage volumes of data and do the backups and all of that fancy stuff. The thing is that do not think you will be DBA or database analyst or database developer after this bootcamp because that's not our focus. The databases, we look at them from slightly different angle of the DevOps engineer where we need to know how to turn it on, how to set it up, how to provide the credentials for those who will be leveraging databases later in the application. Um, Timeline of the activities, right? So we start on October 23rd, which is Wednesday, next week. You start on your 4th month journeying towards the successful career in DevOps. Yes, so we start our bootcamp then. The participation in the lessons, we have lessons 3 times a week. Of course, there will be the guidance along the way, and you will get access to the communication application, which is Slack. And there is a certain group which is dedicated to the DevOps. So you will learn and practice there. We do have, they put in an internship here. I call it a project where you join in and we work in the real life experience. What that means that that would be the place where we have a bunch of interesting tasks to take on, and you will be applying your knowledge and your desire to learn on the real life tasks without guidance, under the supervision, but without guidance. What that means that you're gonna go and execute on it yourself. And of course, there is a career coaching. So career coaching includes in itself the separate course for the resume creation and how to present yourself, how to go through the screening process, what to say, what not to say, and so on. And as the cherry on the top for all of our students on the DevOps course, I will do the closing session of the real life interview. Well, that means you take your knowledge, you write your resume, you come back with that resume to me, and me, being the professional in the industry, and I did already more than probably 100 interviews, I will interview you as you would be on the real life interview with all of the questions and answers. Of course, I'll give you the questions and I'll explain you how the interview will go. But basically, it will conclude our bootcamp, right? Um, Classes schedule. Classes schedule currently is Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Wednesday and Friday, 6:30 p.m. and Saturday, 9:30 a.m. by Pacific time. We also do have a practice lessons. That's something what's not on this schedule, but we have a dedicated person who leads the practice session in the environment where it is totally normal for you to come back and say, hey, I didn't understand it. Hey, can you explain it to me one more time? Or I did this and something broke and I'm afraid to touch it. Fine. You get the mentor essentially. Well, he is a practice teacher. And he will be able to answer all of these questions and help you to go through the lecture style, or maybe decipher certain terminology and so on, which you heard on the classes schedule and you didn't have a time to catch on. I'm not a big believer, honestly, in the homework, although it's a great idea to do extra for sure. You will be able to do so. I mean, there's going to be a lot of interesting extra activities, but overall, the course is structured the way that you will be doing most of the work during the classes. So practice plus these lecture style lessons. Practice will be held. I do not have. I maybe have it. Hold on, give me a moment. I believe it is 3:30 p.m. on Sunday by Pacific, and I believe it's Thursday 1:30 p.m. The practice time is adjustable. We can discuss it with the group and see what works for most of the group. I do understand that most of you guys are on the East Coast, which is okay. Our practice teacher, he's also on the East Coast. And we can go from there. Julia, are you back to us? You are muted. You are muted. You are talking on the mute. What could go wrong? You know what? While you're searching for that button, I just want to answer to one interesting question. So there is a person who's saying that, hey, I do have certain career gap and I'm really want to get into the field of admin and DevOps. Can I try for this engineering position or not as fresher? Of course you do. The thing is that if you do not try, you will never know, right? And that's one of the missed opportunities. But once you try, you will know for sure what it takes. what goes with it, and what's necessary. So I suggest, of course, do. By the way, the IT industry is the very interesting place where the age itself is becoming irrelevant. I don't know, shall I say mid-age guy by now? I feel myself like 16 still. So I'm not gonna say how old I am. But the thing is that I met guys who are in their 18s know more than the guys who just keep sitting in one company at their 60s. And I met guys in their 50s who took the challenge on the course. They came with a zero knowledge. By the end of the course, I had no doubt that they're gonna be successful in the market, like zero at all. And that's kind of a very interesting feeling. So I should say everything is on you, but I will provide all myself and all my help, all my guidance to actually make you successful. So your task is take it in.
Thank you,
That's all for now.
Alexei. Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you
now we
hear
can.
me?
Yes.
Awesome. I just couldn't unmute myself because you had a permission as a host. So
Oh, really?
I wanted to, yeah, it's okay. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for staying with us. And now, since Alexei has shown you this great potential of this career path, you're probably thinking, how do I get started? And so we did prepare a special offer for everyone who stayed with us. And today, till midnight, you can join for 2,999. Tomorrow it's going to be a different price. But what I wanted to for you to think about is that you are investing into your future. And you can go the path where you spent 4 or 5 years in the college, invest over $100,000, and then we know statistics show us that usually a lot of people they don't even use their degrees and they have to do something else to be able to have a stream of income which gives them stability. And so here I want you to see how fast you can get the return for your investment. You invest into 4 months of coaching. And as you see, Alexei, he's an expert in the industry. He will be able to take you from where you are. And I know everyone who is here, you have a different level of knowledge. But even if you're starting from zero, you can get started and you can learn the skill set. Sky's the limit if you put effort in it and you have a right mentor. So I want you to think about that today, and we will continue tomorrow where we will learn more about this opportunity. But as I mentioned before, in this uncertainty times we're living in, you have to have a career, the skill set, which will give you the lifestyle which you deserve because you could go traditional way and trust me, I've been there. I'm a mindset coach, and I invested a lot of time into my studying, and in the same time I built few successful businesses. But what I want to share with you is the importance of being in the position where you can choose opportunity, you can invest into your dreams, and in order for you to get your dream life, you have to get started somewhere. You have to have a skill set which will allow you to generate that income, which will help you to invest into your dreams. And I want to encourage you, do not miss this opportunity. Do not wait till New Year's resolution and just go back to what you're doing. Now, opportunities like that, they don't happen twice. 43% of companies are looking actively for DevOps engineers right now. And as I mentioned in the beginning, this is a 10 billion industry right now, and by 2032, it's going to be over 60 billion. So now is the time to seize this opportunity. So 6 months down the road, you wouldn't regret and be in the same position. You have to take the action. And that's what makes the difference between successful people and not successful, is that successful people, they see opportunity, they take action, and then they have the results. So if you're ready to take an action, then just get in right now and use the QR code. We are going to take the time and answer your questions. And what I love, Alexei mentioned it already, is that it's not going to be just a lecture in a university. Every lesson is interactive. It's when you put and apply the knowledge you receive from Alexei. So it's very practical, and it's not like the room with 100 students where no one has access to instructor, and where everyone got the homework and go figure it out, go to YouTube and help yourself. What makes us different is that we are creating the small group of students where each student has access to the instructor, to the expert who helps him to get to this career path. And I think that's a great advantage, which our school has, is that you're not on your own. And if you have any questions, you feel like you're stuck in the middle of learning, you can always, take this time and ask Alexei questions. And if you need extra mentorship session, you could always book it for extra. And it's available. You're not going to be on your own. And we're very grateful for Alexei being our expert and sharing his knowledge. So if you're ready to take action, take it now. If you want to join us tomorrow, please join us tomorrow. And also, I wanted to go through like quick questions. If we can go to the next slide, Alexei, just to repeat. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat right now. It would be a great time for us to answer them, so we could help you. Right. So like the most common questions is probably the start date, October 23rd. So as I mentioned, do not wait till New Year's resolution. If you start right now in October, by February, you already would have a skill set. And you could be, while everyone is planning their year, you would already be ready to get the job and start making over $100,000 a year, which you could live on it pretty much in US, and there is a room to grow. There is a next level you could go. Kari is asking how many installments would the tuition be? So if we'll return to the previous slide, there is a QR code. Fill up your information, and or we will just discuss different options. So don't let money stop you from achieving this career path. So successful people are the ones which overcome obstacles. And right now in the market, there are so many uh, opportunities, to take even interest-free loan, the credit cards. They give you like a year a year free. Alexei, quick question. How long did it take you to return your investment since you got the job?
Well, let's do a little bit of math. You are pretending for the salary in the range of 120 to 150K a
Yeah.
year. So let's
Mhm.
go for 120, right? I'm gonna open the calculator here just for all of you
Mhm.
guys to see. Hold on. Here we go. So 120K a year. I'm going for the smallest one. Divided by 12 months is 10,000 a month. Of course, with all the taxes and so on, it's probably gonna be like, I'm guesstimating. Do not take me on it, but probably like 65%. So let's assume the worst, right? 35% goes into taxes. So 6,500 per month. The course cost how many?
2,999. So it's
Well,
right now
yeah,
before the midnight. So.
right. So the idea is that essentially you will return it in 1 month.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yes, so you
in
spent 4 months to study, right? Then,
yes,
like since we're helping you with the interview process, and Alexei mentioned all those bonuses where he even includes the practical part of it, and he prepares you for the interview. So, including all of that, let's say it could take you 2 months to get the job. Let's take let's say it takes you 3 months. I mean, we had students who achieved it faster. It depends, how many interviews you're willing to visit, how much time you're willing to invest into getting to the interviews, and how many resumes you're sending. But even with that, you return it the first month with your first paycheck. So we had students who put it on a credit card, and they had interest year free. So they were doing monthly payments, but then with your first paycheck, you return it. But you don't just return your investment, you already have a skill set, and you created a stable stream of income with flexibility of working pretty much anywhere in the world. And in case COVID or something else happens, like hurricane in Florida, you have that flexibility of just grab your laptop and continue making money, taking care of your family dreams. You got to know your why, where you're going, right? So how long is the course? 4 months, 3 times a week. The classes are usually an hour and a half and two. And I also wanted to mention that usually we record all the classes. So for some reason you're in a different time zone, you missed it, you can always rewatch the recording, which is a great advantage.
And you never lose access to it, by the way. So if you want
Oh,
to come back
that's even better.
1 year later, as long as the company exists, you're gonna get access to it.
Awesome. And also the fact that you become a part of the community, I don't think you
Mm-hmm.
can put a price tag on that. Just being able to be around the same mindset people, that means a lot.
Right.
Pam
So
is asking US
yeah.
referral. Did you see that question?
Yes. So as part of you successfully going through the project and well internship, right? We will provide support for you during your job search and job application. That means referrals too. Yes, but you need to go through the course. It's not the process where you simply pay money and get referrals. That's not the way how it works. I wouldn't recommend myself such a student to anybody because I really want to understand who we are recommending and what we are saying and how we are supporting our students on our journey. But once you're going through the course and at the end of the journey, of course, you will get all the support necessary for you to be successful.
Mm, that sounds great. So I want to thank everyone for being with us. And I hope you'll be able to join us tomorrow too, because Alexei tomorrow he will dive deeper with the knowledge of how to be DevOps engineer. He'll be sharing more about the tools. And I just want to encourage you, do not miss this opportunity. Your life is short and unpredictable, so you have to create a lifestyle which you deserve. And you can achieve that goal by investing to yourself, get the right vehicle, which will take you towards your dreams. And if you feel like that's a good fit, then we would love to help you to get there. And I want to thank everyone who stayed with us tonight. If you have any more questions, uh, okay, Pam said thank you. Thank you for answering, Alexei. So let's start your career in tech. And we want to show you that QR code one more time. And hopefully you'll
Yes.
join us tomorrow. I want to remind you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific and noon Eastern. So if you're Virginia or somewhere else in Eastern time zone, you get a chance to sleep a little bit, have a cup of coffee, and we'll see you at noon. And have a wonderful evening. And do not miss this opportunity. Thank you, Alexei. I can't wait to learn more tomorrow and go to the next level in this industry. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. See you tomorrow. Bye.